Hey, good morning, everyone. Trackman 44 here. Hey, I was up here the other day. We're at this nursery where I got all the pictures of all that old stuff inside their main building. Well, I snuck up here today and brought the missus back so she could get more flowers. And we went back into the back and we're kind of taking a look at some of the nicer stuff that he has up here for the kids to play with. Fully functional and running 140 International, just as sharp as a tack. A very sharp Minneapolismoline Model R, all new rubber. Been restored sometime in the past. It's get a little dust and stuff on it, but it's fine. There's a real nice general purpose John Deere. I'm kind of thinking that's probably a B, but I honestly don't know. But back in a corner is a case, a real nice case. That's been restored sometime in the past. And right here in front of me is a cub, nice neat little cub. And right here to my left, here's yet another cub, just as neat as can be. And what we have right here in front of us is an early 1900s politician model. This is something you can run more BS out of in a 24-hour period than just about any of the politicians today. Here's a small McCormick Deering. It's missing one vital function. I'm not sure, but he may be converting this to run on batteries. I don't know. Kind of doubt it though. Now, I really do enjoy all things old trucks, old cars, old motorcycles, old tractors, and even a few old women every now and then. But I don't really know exactly what this is, but it's cool nonetheless. I'm not sure the bed is original to it. It could be, I don't know. I'm just not that much into old trucks. But I'm a Red Power fan, but I'm a fan of the Massey Harris red. It looks like this guy here, he probably died and kind of rotted away trying to get this whole thing started up. That's the only thing I can figure. Now, you international fans, bear in mind that was just my subtle attempt at humor. I ain't got too good of a funny bone, but gotta admit, that is kind of funny. Pretty nice example of a McCormick Deering threshing machine. Instead of being the old all wooden models, this is a little bit newer. Now, I say older wooden models, I assume that the ones that were all wood were the older models. I have the remnants of an old Grand Detour cultivator, very similar to this here. Old horse-drawn cultivator my dad used to use. I do not know what brand this guy is here, but it's something very, very similar. I just love the way those guys figured out how to make things adjustable back in the day. That's really cool. Now, here's something I've used a lot of, but never in this brand. This is a Western Bearcat hammer mill. It's got a lot of stuff on there that our old hammer mill didn't have. Inside on that arbor right there at the flat belt wood drive, there's a series of hammers in there that are usually reversible. And depending on how fine you want to grind whatever grain it is that you're grinding, you would pull out these screens and you would put in a finer mesh screen if you wanted to grind it down into a finer mesh, or leave it larger, depending on what you're grinding and how you wanted to prepare it for the animals that you're feeding. And boy, me and my brothers pulled a field cultivator like this many miles back in the day behind those old Massey Harrises. These things are really good for picking up rotted roots at the edge of the field. These big springs right here would nab onto the roots, or maybe rocks out in the middle of the field, and they would kind of bend a little bit, then flick. And they would flick the stuff to the surface. So then you'd have the kids come along with another team of horses and a wagon, or guys like me with a tractor and a trailer, and pick up all the debris, carry it to the edge of the field, dump it, and come back for more. There's your 10-foot tandem disc, very similar to the one we had out on the place. I do not know what the manufacturer, what the name of this is, but these things here, you'd have to grease the bearings, and the bearings actually, as some of you old guys know, the bearings weren't actually bearings. They were nothing more than hickory blocks that were actually cut in halves, and you would unbolt the bottoms of that axle cap, and then you would pull out the whole row of discs, and you would replace the axle caps, or I'm sorry, you would replace those bearing halves, and then tighten everything back down, and then pump them full of grease, and then just keep them full of grease. And then eventually, as that would wear out, you would have to do it over and over again. Oh, we always had those extras hanging in the blacksmith shop. I bet with a weekend's worth of maintenance, you could probably get this thing fired up, unless the motor's stuck, and get right back out in the field. This old International 303. Looks like a big 6 up there on top. Yeah, it's a big 6 up there. Here's a 1-row John Deere pull type corn picker. You ever hear about farmers having accidents? You always want to shut these things down anytime you're working on them. If you look inside here, those big circular things with the flutes on the side of it, those roll around and around against each other like two threads screwing one way and the other. And as your corn stalks would be drawn up through here with these chains, that would actually snap the ears of corn off, and the ears of corn go right down into this auger and then go all the way up into here, then come out the chute back into your corn wagon you're pulling behind. Well, I had an Uncle Ed, and he had a mounted corn picker on old Massey Harris, and he got her all stuffed up one time, and he's reaching down in here with the part takeoff for running and everything, you know, and he's reaching down in there trying to clear all that debris and everything out of there. Well, lo and behold, he got in there too close. And I don't know if he had a long sleeve shirt on or whatever, but those snapping rolls caught him by the hand and drug him all the way in, all the way up to his forearm, up to his elbow, and it was sitting there just a gnawing and a grinding on his arm, just chewed the meat completely apart, just totally pulverized all the bones from his wrist to his elbow. My other uncle, Uncle Charlie, he was on a tractor all the way across the field, and he saw that Uncle Ed was in trouble, and he come a-flying across that field, got the tractor shut down, got the PTO rolled backwards enough to get Uncle Ed's broken and mangled arm out of there. And of course he had to go to hospital, and he had to have those bones surgically wired together with, they always said it was a gold filament, and that was in there till the day he died. It was just literally holding those bones together just from one end to the other, and I just cannot imagine that kind of pain that had to have been. And until the day he died, that arm was misshapen. The other arm was strong, he had a nice forearm. This arm here was always just mangled and mashed in, and he always favored it. I don't remember if it's a left arm or right arm, but that's the kind of dangers that can happen in a heartbeat with this farm machinery. Well guys, thanks for coming along with me on another one. Hopefully it didn't ramble on too long, and it's short enough to keep your interest up for a little bit. And unless I find something else interesting, this is going to be the end of it. Now I got to go find the missus in one of these many greenhouses. My gosh, there's got to be at least 12 greenhouses right here, and he's got several more under construction. So at any rate, for now, this is Trackman 44, and I'm out of here, guys. What'd you say?
It's like Jurassic Park over there.
Jurassic Park, yeah, I've seen that.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah, it really is. I'm gonna go back in there and take a look real quick. It's just kind of a pretty place, and I'm not even a flowery kind of guy. Yeah, I kind of had to chuckle at the missus. She said this greenhouse over here behind us kind of reminded her of Jurassic Park. She was kind of looking for a velociraptor to jump out at her at any time.